The floor where hope lives. The emergency room lights flickered overhead as Marcus Chin sat in the waiting area, his phone pressed to his ear. It was 3 in the morning, and Lily was safe at his neighbor's apartment, still sleeping peacefully, unaware that her father had been called away. "I understand," Marcus said quietly into the phone. "I'll stay as long as you need me." He had been working his second job as a night custodian at Riverside Medical Center for only 2 weeks. The extra income helped cover expenses for the new house Eleanor had given them 6 months ago. The mansion was beautiful, but it came with property taxes and utility bills that stretched his modest salary thin. Marcus never complained. He was grateful for every square foot, every moment of stability it provided for Lily. Tonight, the hospital had called him in early. There had been an incident in the executive wing, and they needed someone to clean up broken glass before the morning shift arrived. Marcus gathered his supplies and made his way to the 3rd floor. The executive wing was quieter than the rest of the hospital, with thick carpets and artwork on the walls. This was where the administrative offices were located, where the people who ran the hospital spent their days making decisions that affected thousands of lives. As Marcus approached the corner office, he heard a sound that made him stop. It was soft, almost imperceptible. Someone was crying. He peered through the open doorway and saw her. A woman sat on the floor, her back against the wall, surrounded by shattered glass from what had once been a large window picture frame. She wore an elegant red dress, now wrinkled and stained. Her wavy brown hair fell across her face as she stared down at her legs, tears streaming silently down her cheeks. Marcus recognized her immediately. Victoria Ayes, the CEO of Riverside Medical Center. He had seen her photograph in the lobby, had heard the staff speak of her with a mixture of respect and fear. She was known for her brilliance, her demanding standards, and her ability to transform struggling hospitals into thriving institutions. But the woman on the floor looked nothing like the confident executive in those photographs. "Ma'am," Marcus said gently, setting down his cleaning supplies. "Are you hurt?" Victoria looked up, her eyes red and swollen. For a moment, she seemed startled, as if she had forgotten anyone else existed in the world. Then her expression crumbled. "Please," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I can't walk." "You can't." "I can't move my legs." Marcus felt his heart constrict. He moved closer, careful to avoid the broken glass scattered across the expensive carpet. "Did you fall?" "Sold a call for help." "No," Victoria said quickly, almost desperately. "No doctors. No nurses. No one can see me like this." Marcus crouched down beside her, maintaining a respectful distance. He understood pride. He understood the fear of appearing weak in front of others. After Sarah died, he had spent months pretending everything was fine, smiling through his grief until he was alone at night. "Okay," he said calmly. "No one else. But I need to understand what's happening so I can help you." Victoria's hands trembled as she wiped her eyes. "It's my condition. Multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed 3 years ago. Most days, I can manage. I take medication, I push through. But sometimes, during a flare-up, my legs just stop working." She gestured weakly at the broken frame on the floor. "I was working late. I stood up to adjust that picture, and suddenly my legs gave out. I fell, knocked it off the wall. I've been sitting here for 2 hours, trying to will my body to cooperate. But it won't. And I can't let anyone know. If the board finds out, if they see me weak like this, they'll think you can't do your job," Marcus finished quietly. Victoria nodded, fresh tears spilling down her cheeks. "I've worked my entire life to get here. I've sacrificed everything. My marriage ended because I couldn't stop working. I have no children, no family close by. This hospital, this position, it's all I have. If I lose it, I lose everything." Marcus sat down beside her, careful of the glass. He thought about Eleanor, about how she had seen past his circumstances to the person underneath. He thought about all the times people had underestimated him because of his job, his modest clothes, his quiet demeanor. "May I tell you something?" Marcus said. "6 months ago, I was struggling to pay rent on a tiny apartment. I worked one job, barely got by, constantly worried about my daughter's future. Then someone I helped gave me an incredible gift. Not because I was impressive or important, but because she saw me being kind when no one was watching." Victoria looked at him, confusion mixing with her pain. "The point is," Marcus continued, "strength isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up. And sometimes, it's about letting someone help you stand." He pulled out his phone. "I'm going to call my neighbor. She's a retired physical therapist. She's helped my daughter when she's been sick, and she's discreet. She won't judge you, and she won't tell anyone. She'll just help." "Why would you do this?" Victoria asked, her voice barely audible. "You don't know me. I'm just another executive who probably doesn't even see people like you." Marcus smiled sadly. "Because everyone deserves help when they fall. And because I think you've been carrying everything alone for too long." 40 minutes later, Ms. Patterson arrived with her medical bag and a wheelchair she kept from her working days. She examined Victoria with professional efficiency and gentle kindness, asking questions in a soothing voice that gradually calmed the CEO's panic. "It's a flare-up," Ms. Patterson confirmed. "Your legs need rest and proper medication adjustment. But you'll be okay, dear. This isn't the end of anything." Together, Marcus and Mrs. Patterson helped Victoria into the wheelchair. Marcus cleaned up the broken glass while Mrs. Patterson stayed with Victoria, talking quietly about treatment options and specialists she knew. When Marcus finished, he found Victoria watching him with an expression he couldn't quite read. "Thank you," she said. "I don't know how to repay this kindness." Marcus shook his head. "You don't need to repay kindness. You just need to accept it. And maybe, when you're feeling better, you could remember this moment. Remember what it feels like to need help. There are probably people in this hospital who need the same understanding." 3 weeks later, Marcus received a letter at his home on Riverside Drive. Inside was a promotion offer to a new position at the hospital, facilities manager with full benefits and a salary that would let him quit his second job. There was also a handwritten note. "You reminded me why I became a doctor before I became an administrator. I wanted to help people. Thank you for helping me when I had fallen, literally and figuratively. You changed everything." It was signed simply, Victoria. That evening, as Marcus tucked Lily into bed in her spacious room with its window overlooking the garden, she asked him about his day. "It was good, sweetheart," he said, smoothing her hair. "I learned that sometimes the strongest thing we can do is ask for help. And sometimes helping someone stand up helps them remember how to walk forward." Lily smiled sleepily. "You're good at helping people, Daddy." Marcus kissed her forehead. "I'm learning, sweetheart. Every day, I'm learning." Outside, the stars shone bright over Riverside Drive, and somewhere in the city, a woman sat at her desk, no longer afraid to face tomorrow.